So our first application is David Graham for 34 Bittersweet Lane. David, you can share your screen,
Oh.
or did you want me to share it?
Oh, can you do that? Yeah,
Okay, sure, hold on.
I'm prepared to do that.
Can you see that?
Yeah,
Just-
sideways, but. Yeah.
All right, so David, I'm just gonna go down and you can just do the talking.
So on the site plan, what we're doing is we are reframing the roof, the upper floor. Basically copying the existing pitch, but making it broader so it gets a little higher. And then we're adding some dormers in the front, 3 dormers in the front on the upper level, and a shed dormer in the back. And that's going to be an at-home office. And then on the first floor, which is the shaded area towards the street, where it's a Garrison Colonial, where the second floor cantilevers out a foot. And we are just building the first floor out to align with the second floor, and just redoing the windows. And then over the front door, we're putting a peaked portico with an arch that you'll see when we get to the elevations. So these are our house, and then now we're on to the neighbors, budding neighbors. So that's our house. On the left is where we're, adding the, 1 foot in the living room and dining room, and the dormers, which you'll see when we go to the elevations. So that's the house from the street, from the cul-de-sac. It's downhill. This is showing the piers to support the 1 foot addition on the first floor. And then here's the first floor where we're just pushing out the 2 facades, one of the living room and one of the dining room a foot to line up with the second floor, and we're making it a double window rather than single. And on top of the existing stoop, we are putting a porch. The front door assembly is going to stay. On the second floor, there's nothing you see on the outside. We're just adding another, new stairs to go up to the attic. And then this is the 3rd floor plan, where we have on the bottom of the page the dormers towards the street. So this is the front elevation towards the street, where on the top you have 3 dormers equally spaced. And then down on the first floor, the left is the living room and the right is the dining room. And we're putting panels, to make it sort of piano nobly, look like taller, with a pediment with a crown molding, and then shutters on either side with a flat panel with a picture mold and a drip and an apron below. On the left side of the house, you can see where we've redone the roof so that it covers the entire footprint from front to back rather than being a series of smaller roofs. And that results in the ridge going up 6 feet. And there's a double window that opens up to a balcony that is a wooden deck that matches the deck below, with curved brackets that match some brackets elsewhere. And it has a ladder against the building because for egress. And on the right side, on the first floor, you can see the 1 foot that we pushed out. In the back, there's on the upper floor, there's a shed dormer with a series of windows. And this is the carport side, where, again, we're just reframing the roof. And on the left, there's the doghouse dormers. And on the right, there's the shed dormer. And that's a section, it's going to be all cathedral ceiling. Oh. It's just sections through the, and the, that's looking towards the street, so we're, you know, we have a 5-foot spring line with little, and this is the bracketed, the deck with the brackets, so that you can come out the window and land on it and then go down a ladder.
And the idea of the ladder is that you don't need to sprinkler it if you have this egress.
No, we're fire sprinkling it, but
Okay.
when you jump out of a window, an egress window, once you've satisfied, you know, the window sill height, the square footage, the size, you can't drop more than 14 feet.
Right.
There's maximum drop. So,
Right.
you know, when you have a 2-story building, usually there's a place that you can jump out the window and you know, less than whether, I can't recall, it was 12 or 14 feet. In our particular case, we exceeded that. So we're putting a ladder there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can you go back for a minute, Daisy, just to the photos of the house?
Is that something I'm supposed to navigate?
No, Daisy's doing it.
Okay,
No, I got it.
it's at the beginning of the package.
Is this what you want, Bob?
That's your house, right? That's the house, right?
David, is this the house? Front, rear, left, and right?
Elise, I need your help. I'm not seeing anything, so I'm not sure. They're referring to something, something, it must have changed. Do you have any idea how to? Okay, I'm back with you. Yeah, yes. So on the lower left is, you know, as you enter the driveway, and you have a pitch roof, and up on the roof, we're, you know, matching the pitch, but we're at, you know, we're, you know, going all the way front to back. So when you look at the right side, you can see that the pitch goes up and it comes back, say 10 or 12 feet from the rear. So what we're basically doing is just extending that roof up on the lower right photograph, so it covers the entire building. And then on the lower left, you know, above, up in that attic, we're putting the dormers. And then on the lower left, it's kind of hard to see, but that's a Garrison Colonial. So we're just making it all on the same plane and adding a portico on the existing stoop. And then in the back here, you know, that's where you would see the shed dormer between the two gables, you know.
So did you have a roof plan? I don't remember if I saw it.
No.
Okay, anybody have questions, comments? from the
Daisy, can
floor?
I just see the second floor plan?
Go
Mm,
the other way, Daisy.
uh,
2 more.
okay. So it's a L-shaped house now?
Well, it's primarily a rectangle, and there's, yeah, and then there's a little bit of a bump on the left, you know, a gable for an addition we did 10 years ago.
So in this view, your new gable is going to go all the way from the back to the front, right?
Correct.
Okay. And just Daisy, one more time, can I see a side elevation, Daisy, the right side, if I don't know if that's east or west or north or south? Keep going. No, keep going. Yeah, okay. Can I see the next one? No, one more. Yep, that one. So that existing gable is really that short right now?
The apex of the roof?
Yeah, it looks like it goes from front to back. It should go from front to back a lot deeper, I think, but maybe I'm wrong.
It doesn't now.
Okay, okay. All right, I just thought the gable was gonna look overwhelming, but it looks okay here. Okay, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, when you take the average grade, it's below the maximum height
Yeah, yeah,
by a couple of feet.
okay.
And the house does sit like a story down from the cul-de-sac.
Right.
So you're probably maybe at eye level with somebody who was in the dorm or in the attic. You're not looking up, you're really looking across.
All right. Anybody?
Right.
Dan, Travis, Joe, anybody have comments? I'm good with it.
I think it looks good.
I'm fine.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you, David. You
Thank
approve?
you.
David.
Have a good evening,
Thank
everybody.
you. Good night.
Okay, so Ken is returning for 70 Carey. And we had asked him to return. He had proposed a one-story addition to the left side of the house. Everything was remaining the same. You asked him, the roof addition was gonna continue with a smaller pitch, different materials. The asphalt shingles were gonna be different, and the board requested to study the roof covering style and to return. So Ken, can you
Yes.
share?
Hi, how are you? I'm Ken Okamoto. I'm not sure if Adam's on, the
Yes.
homeowner. Oh, Adam's here.
We're here.
Great. So we took the board's comments and we spent the time period to study what we can do. And my thoughts on this was that adding any sort of dormers or stuff would be kind of busy for the style of the house. So what we decided to do is actually change the plan so it doesn't go out as much. So we're able to have a pitch that we could use asphalt shingles on. So so we did that. And the other thing that we were concerned with just using asphalt shingles, whether they would match it or not. And we got samples and we brought them to the house, and actually we found an exact match because the new roof was relatively new. So in a sense, the addition and the existing house would all have all the same roof. And we adjusted the pitch to make it all congruous. So let's see, on the previous submission, this area had a roll roofing, but now the area has an asphalt shingle roof, and the color and the texture match exactly to the existing roof.
Is it a continuous pitch or is there still a break and a
There's
change?
there is still a slight break, but there has been in the rear, there actually is a break and you hardly notice it. Similarly,
You mean in the existing,
in the
on
existing,
the existing house?
right? So this was a rear, I believe, a rear addition. I don't know when it was done, but there is a pitch break. I don't know if you can see the cursor, but there is actually a pitch break here, and you do hardly see. I mean, I think the difference is 1 inch and 12. So that's how, and we feel pretty good about, you're incorporating your comments and having a positive result.
So is the roof going to roll all the way up, and even though there's a break, it's continuous, so it won't be as noticeable as if you have a seam, so to speak?
I thought there would be a seam just because of, not ripping out the existing roof. But I think the seam would be, fairly, it'd be a lot more like a woven seam. So I don't think that would be not noticeable.
Do you have a roof plan we can look at?
Yeah, I think we do have a roof plan. Maybe not. Huh, actually, no. Let's see. And here are the instructions of the laying the low slope roof.
Would I have had a copy? Would you have given me a copy of it?
I do not see it as part of the submission.
So what did you actually change from last time to this time?
What we did is we actually brought the addition in about a foot. We adjusted the plate height about, let's see, maybe a couple inches, maybe 3 inches or so. And then we, we adjusted the connection a little, and we adjusted the plate height. And we moved we made the addition a foot smaller.
Yeah, I think I think keeping it all that same material, that same asphalt shingle is gonna help out a lot versus the sheet or the.
Yeah. No,
Roll-
I think we took your comments and we were pleased with the results. There have been some other changes on the exterior. So if I'd like to share that with you when you're ready.
Sure, please.
Yeah. All set? Okay. Let's see what we got here. So this is the previous submission. Actually, there is a full basement under the existing that we would like to take advantage of now and finish the basement. And you can see that there's these basement windows that was in the previous submission. What we'd like to do in this submission is change them out to, sorry, you're gonna get dizzy. Let's see. Here's an example of what we did here. We added a new window in here, which is an egress window. We added one in the front of the house and one to the side. And we are finishing the basement. So exterior wise, we added 2 windows. We added a small retaining wall to allow that to happen. It's only about 4 feet or so.
You can align those windows a little more.
We can't, let's see, what do we do?
They look the same size. If you could line them on top of each other, would be nice.
Sure, yeah, this was an for some reason I measured the existing opening. This is an existing window. This is an existing opening. And that's where we got, but for sure, I guess we could align them if that, yeah. I'll make sure that happens.
Comments from the board, anybody?
No, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think it addresses what we discussed last time.
Yep, it does.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Appreciate you working with us.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, night,
And I can.
take care.
Okay. So the next application is Joel Greenberg for the sign for the Chappaqua building. And he had come.
Oh, wait, it's the sign this time?
This is the sign. They also applied for the building facade.
Yeah,
So the original sign that the large signs that were on the roof, the sign
That's
was
off.
not code compliant
Right.
and was not permitted. So, so they're returning with what they have.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Put A200 on the screen.
Hold on. It's not pulling up. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
I have it up if you want me to.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
So we're really only here for the Chappaqua building sign, Joel. Right?
Well, no, we added the other two because we have two tenants now. So we're here for the Chappaqua building sign, the Goodie Shop, and the math tutoring business. Basically, if you look at the lower right-hand corner where it says Franny's Goodie Shop, that's the basic sign, which is going to be, as you can see from the drawing. This is a franchise. This is their third shop. They have one, I believe, in Larchmont. They have one in Mount Kisco, and now they want to have one in Chappaqua. That's their logo. And the basic sign is, it will be the white Aztec signboard. The trim will be in that darker color, as you can see. And the lettering will be basically 6-inch letters attached to the board, and plus their logo. The same thing with the tutoring place. That's their motto. It's called Mathnasium, and that's their logo. The way we did it is that the Mathnasium is going to be to the rear of the building, but we wanted to have signs for all the tenants in the front. The doors, the two doors that you see down below, if you go right there, where the two doors are. There's one door there now. If you look at the other elevations, we're going to create two doors. The one on the right will be the exit from the second floor. There's a staircase that goes up to the second floor. The one on the left will be a direct entrance into Franny's Goodie Shop. And as I said, the Mathnasium will be from the rear. That there will be no entrance from South Greeley Avenue. Basically the same thing with the Chappaqua sign. The only thing we've added to the left of the Chappaqua sign on in the panel there is just to put the number there, the 75. So people looking for the 75 South Greeley Avenue will know where it is. Very basic sign, except for the Mathnasium logo and the Franny's Goodie Shop logo. Otherwise, it's pretty standard. And
What trim are you talking about? So
okay,
there's,
if you look at the set where look to, right above where it says Franny's Goodie Shop, there's a section there, Daisy.
yeah, I see that trim, but then there's a box around the logo too.
Yeah, well, that box around the logo, that will be that's the trim that's that dark, I guess just dark gray, or actually light. If you look at the drawing, let's see, look at drawing G100. We actually have the color of the trim, which is the window trim and the trim around the.
There are more drawings, Daisy? Or is
There's
this
only
it?
one page.
No, well, it should be also drawing G100.
I think he's referring to the plans for the facade. So let me pull up those. plans
Well,
as
I
well.
guess it's somewhat integrated. Yes, you're right.
It's a 2-inch trim that runs around the sign.
Yes, if you look at the detail,
No, I understand that, but then there's a rule around Franny's logo.
again, that rectangle that says Franny's Goodie Shop is a piece by itself, which will then be attached to the Aztec board.
But is there another line around it?
Well, yeah, it'll have just a thin black line to,
It's like a pinstripe, I think.
yeah, just a very thin line around the logo.
Yeah, scroll down, Daisy. Let's see the front elevation.
Oh, yeah, just stop there for a
Yep.
second. That where it says window trim day, oh. Yeah, it says, drop it down, Daisy. just
Hold
a-
on, the computer keeps freezing.
Oh,
Hold
I'm
on.
sorry. Okay, there you go. Where it says window trim, that's going to be the color of the trim around the sign and also the trim around those panels between the windows. And all the windows, as you can see, both from the, none of the windows are changing, but with we are going to paint it that.
Like a charcoal.
Daisy, can you blow that up, please?
What is the Goodie Shop? What kind of a store is it?
It basically sells all different types of candy. It's got a
Ice cream.
ice
Yogurt.
cream,
What's that
yogurt,
yogurt place, Bob, next to the movie
To the
theater? in
theater.
right next to
Manchester?
the movie theater in Mount Kisco,
in
exactly.
Mount Kisco.
Okay.
You mentioned
Across from
the,
M&R Deli.
you mentioned the street number is going to be put somewhere. I don't see that.
If you look
Yeah,
back,
that's another one.
that's on the sign sheet, the A200, Daisy. You'll see that, you'll see where the 75 is.
Is it on these plans or on
Yeah,
the
it's,
other plans?
you actually showed it. The first drawing that you showed, the A200 that had the Franny's Goodie Shop.
Okay, hold on, because I have to go to the other.
There's no
screen.
number on it.
Yeah, I didn't see a number.
There.
Yeah, it's underneath
It's right, it's
the
right underneath the light. You see where it says 75 to the right of
under
it,
store number 2, the sign.
directly under store number.
Oh, okay.
And is the math sign like only a portion of the, you've got like this space for signs. It looks like it's, there's blank space to the left and something on the right, entry through mall or something like that. Is the
Yes,
sign
in other words-
filling the whole space or?
Yeah, well, if you look, basically, there's a blank space on the left and the same size on the right. The one on the right will say entry through mall. And of course, the centerpiece will have the mathnasium sign.
We try to center them over the windows the
You look
best we
at
could.
directly over the double doors and the double windows above that, correct?
But for
But it
instance,
looks
on
like
the
you've set
double
up
doors-
these rectangles, like 6 of them, and then you're not using all the rectangles. You're not like filling the space. You're not
But
unifying.
also the sign
signage.
on the door is bigger than
Yeah,
I mean, the details are not, not,
they're not there.
they're not there. And on the Franny's, it doesn't make sense to put a rule around the logo. And then what's the logo made out of? Is it a vinyl? Is it, I mean, there's really no reason to put this black rule around the logo. It's touching the logo. It's not centered vertically.
Well, that's easy. With that, we could take off. I don't have a problem with that.
Take off yeah, just leave that.
Just
as a
take
float-
off, just
float.
leave it plain.
Yeah.
Just leave it plain. That's totally fine.
No problem with that.
But what's the material on the logo, of the logo?
I think we were gonna do it out of something maintenance free, like a vinyl of
Yeah,
some
it'll be
sort.
vinyl. Yeah, vinyl.
The drawings are really lacking detail, to be honest with you guys. They're not really, telling us enough. And if somebody went to inspect the sign when it was installed and compare it to the drawing, they're gonna be hard pressed to see if it was done consistent or not.
We have the length and the heights and the widths.
Right, and
There's no,
we have the size of the lettering, we have, the other ones, of course, will not be installed until we get tenants, so.
Is the mathnasium going to be a vinyl graphic also?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
So couldn't somebody kind of extend the background of their logo so it fills the whole space?
We could do that.
can you put entry through mall maybe on the door or something? I mean, it just looks like a short sign that is missing something on the left.
Well, what we can do is we can relocate that, and then like was just said, we can extend the mathnasium so it fills the whole space. That's a good idea.
You know,
I
before
mean,
you
I'm
put,
looking at other logos that they have. And there is no background, and I don't understand yours where there's a background there.
What do you mean by
Yeah.
a background?
It
Yeah.
looks like there's diagonal stripes.
Yeah, almost looks like marble or something. It's very hard to tell because these drawings are very small. A lot of times we get drawings from a sign maker. So
Right,
it's
that-
much
That
easier.
was signage provided by the tenant. That's what they would like at their store.
Yeah, but then for approval, we usually approve something that's done by a sign maker.
we often get like a shop drawing, you know.
Because all the other mathnasium, everything I see, they're like pin letters with no background, the background being whatever the, structure it's on, so.
Yeah, we understand that each mathnasium location varies depending on the franchisee of the store.
Yeah, but, so I guess our
They're pretty
question is, why do you
consistent.
have a background on this one?
Because this is what the franchisee wanted.
But it butts up right to the M. I mean, it's really hard to tell with these drawings. The background is butting up to the M in the first letter.
Well, like we just said before, we agree with that. We're going to take out the.
But what is the background? We can't even tell because it's so small.
Well, again, this is what the tenant had given me, and so this is what we.
And are you talking about the color? What is the background?
No, she's
color?
talking about those.
Well, what is the design? What is the?
There's some diagonal.
I mean, is it just scratches? It's just because it's so small, it's really hard for us to evaluate.
It's suggestive of something, but it's not informative.
Yeah, but
Hey, Joel, can you
and
zoom in? Can you zoom in a little bit? Maybe we could see it a little.
no, I
clearer?
mean, Ann is right. You look up mathnasium images and none of them have backgrounds. So I can't imagine that as a franchisee, they can stick a background on the logo.
Yeah, can you zoom in?
I mean,
Right.
that background could be when they were trying to pull off a sign from one of the signs. It could be the background that they got. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really
Yeah.
think that's what they intended.
Well, if it's something that you feel is not worthwhile doing, we can just just take the background out.
Yeah. Keep
Yeah.
it
The background
Take it
out,
out.
consistent with everything.
and
else.
also fill out the whole sign as you said, instead of having the two
We'd
blanks.
like to have some consistency while at the same time giving companies an opportunity for branding, but still try to have some level of consistency and some uniformity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Absolutely.
I mean,
agree.
it would look much nicer without the background, mathnasium
Hey-
and their
hey,
logos
Ann.
all in pin letters. The entry through mall is just a standard AutoCAD font, so that can't be it. So we really need to see what that's going to be. And I think
No,
Ann
I
was allu-
think
Ann
what
was
I-
alluding to Franny's Goodie Shop should maybe be cut on, 1/4 inch, whatever, so it sits a little bit proud. That shape sits proud of the sign.
But even on the door, it's going to the edge of the door. So
Yeah,
it's just not
wrong.
rendered properly.
No, it's just
Hey,
it's
Ann.
not
Hey,
professional.
Ann,
Yes.
I pulled up the PDF, and if you zoom into the PDF that Daisy sent us out, the background actually says Fast Signs National Accounts.
Yeah, that's why I
So
was, yeah, that's what I said. They pulled it from
they
the,
just scabbed it
Yeah.
off the internet or something.
right. And that's the background that they got.
Yeah, so I don't think the background's even relevant.
And the one in the door is overlapping on the door frame.
Right.
So,
Just
so
for
the background
space.
won't even be there. It's just gonna be the mathnasium alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the background will be out and it'll fill the whole space now.
Right, but we would like it to be pin letters like it seems all their other franchises are, rather than just a vinyl graphic. To have some dimension, like you're showing it in a section, they're showing some dimension, but all of this could be a vinyl graphic on a rectangular frame, which is what we don't want.
Okay. No problem.
I'm surprised they don't, because it's a franchise. They usually have brand guidelines that you have to follow.
Well, it sounds like they have an account with Fast Sign.
I'm surprised they don't send you guys the signs like they make it themselves as a corporation.
So, Steve.
We kind of
and
need
Joel-
new drawings, Daisy. It just
Yeah.
kind of like last week.
Well, I thought we were
think-
only, I thought we were only coming for the Chappaqua building sign. So with
Right,
that,
can we talk about the facade, the boxes and the two doors and the two transoms above? Are you guys okay with that? So we
Before-
can cover the brick?
hold on, before we go on to that, because the first application is the sign. So the other two signs, they need to apply for separate building permits for sign permits, one for Franny's, one for the math center. So the application is for the Chappaqua building. So
All right, so
Um,
that's a
Can you
good
zoom
idea.
out, Daisy? Zoom out a little bit, please.
Daisy's
sorry?
fine. I think Daisy's correct. Why don't we just dwell on the Chappaqua sign and
well,
obviously
just so you know, if you're gonna return for the Franny's and the math center, we need a separate sign permit for each store.
each door
Okay.
up.
That's
So
fine.
today, we're just here for the Chappaqua building sign
Well, I'm glad we had a
And the
discussion.
facade.
and the
Can you z-
facade.
I'm sorry, can you zoom out again, Daisy, so we can see the whole composition? Okay, thank you.
So this is that passageway. So the Chappaqua building sign is under that passageway where the jewelry store and local was, right?
Correct.
Okay. So Daisy, I'm sorry, are we commenting on the sign or the facade?
So
Both.
just the one sign over the
Both.
breezeway?
The
is
first
that-
application is for the sign. So they originally had the large letters on the roof,
Right.
which Tom said no. So they came back with this sign that's above the walkway.
Above the walkway.
So we need to know, are you guys okay with this sign?
Well, what is the sign?
What is it?
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a lot of details. Is there any relief to those letters? Are they flat? Do they stick out? I mean,
Yes, they do. If you look at the sign section directly above where it says Franny's Goodie Shop on the detail on A200, it shows you a section through the sign.
I think you want some hierarchy. I mean, it's the same rectangle as all the others. It actually looks smaller because you have more letters. It's less important than all the other signs.
Well, I don't think the other signs are gonna be like that because
Oh, but
they're not
just,
gonna be store number 3. It's gonna be,
still, I mean, it's,
no,
Oh, the
it
triangle.
is small, but,
Again, we don't know what the tenants are going to be yet. So
right.
but the placard for the building is the same size as a placard for an individual tenant space. Does
correct.
that seem odd? I mean, doesn't
Well,
it-
you really can't make it much higher because you only have that much space above the opening to the mall. And you can't make it any wider because you wanted to line it up with the opening to the mall. I mean, if you want, I guess, if you feel that you would like to see larger letters, we could possibly take out the word "the" and just say Chappaqua Building and enlarge the letters. If that,
you could
I'm
do-
more interested in the materials.
well, the materials, again, it's all AZAC. It's a AZAC board. If you look at the sign section on A100, excuse me, A200. And
You have that, Davey?
and then well, obviously, you
Are
feel
you
that.
referring to this page, Joel, A200?
He's
Yeah,
referring to the Goodie
Just drop it
Shop.
down. Just drop it down. There, okay, right there. Above the word, above the Goodie Shop sign, there's a section. Right there, stop. That's it. And
It's
that will
not much of- It's not much of a detail.
tell me what additional stuff you want and we'll provide it. But well, let's get back to the question. You're questioning the size of the letters where the says the Chappaqua building. Would you prefer larger letters and take out the word thus so we can get larger letters and just say Chappaqua building?
I almost want, I mean, I'll just throw my 2 cents in. I almost wonder, maybe you don't want to plat, maybe you want to put different kind of letters, and maybe they want to go just on the building. You want it to read differently than the tenant signs. You want a building sign and you want tenant signage. You don't want them to be
Right.
exactly the same, except they have different words.
Yeah, we did that at the last meeting.
No, but that,
No,
I
not
don't
on
think
the
he
roof.
means on the roof.
But that was rather large, you know, maybe
let's-
on
so
the
we'll-
facade, maybe put something, you know, some nicer pin letters there. And I don't know, I don't want to design it for you, but you're just stamping exactly the same thing in every location. And your building doesn't have any more prominence as a sign than the tenant sign.
Right, I thought you guys said you were looking for more uniformity, but okay, we could come up
Yeah,
with something.
that's the impression we got last time, but if you feel differently, we will make.
What do the rest of you guys think? I don't want to make all decisions.
No, I agree. It looks like you have 5 stores in there and one's called the Chappaqua Building.
No, the building is called the Chappaqua Building.
No, I understand, but the lack of hierarchy makes it look as equal as all the other signs.
And getting rid of the will not help it because your length of Chappaqua building can't really extend further. So you could add more white space around it, but it's not really going to change the
All right, well,
size.
I get the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, that you would like to see something totally different for that where it says Chappaqua building versus the one for the various stores and.
Right, but not like,
Let it
2 weeks
stand
ago.
out.
But not like the
Let it-
one 2 weeks ago, Joel.
No,
I
Oh,
would, but
but
what about
Bob,
the rest of
don't
you
you
guys?
just- I mean,
No,
even if it was
definitely.
pin letters.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, I
I
agree
miss,
with Bob, right? Like it's a weird spacing, right? And I understand why you have to do it because store 1 and store 2 are right one behind the other, but you've got these 3 panels stacked up on the left side, and then you start spacing them out more as you go to the right, and it's
Right.
just weird. Like if you make the Chappaqua building sign not a rectangular panel, it will help with that as well as the hierarchy of, okay, this is identifying the building and these 5 panels are the stores.
and could you make the frame of store 1 and store 2 a little bit narrower so they have some breathing space around them?
Yeah, we could do that. Sure. All right, so.
That's gonna limit the size of the tenant signs then. And
Well,
they need-
I
they
think,
need their own
Dan,
identity.
what they mean is just to have some space. Right now, they're touching. So I think with a little space in between, we're not going to take that much away from the tenants.
And we're gonna take that trim around it off too.
Yes, and then also, and then we'll do something totally different for the entrance to the, to the mall area. I think that seems to be the feeling of the board.
And we're not commenting on the facade, are we? That was already done, right?
No,
I think
the
that's the
no,
next item on the
actually,
agenda.
The
We're
facade,
gonna bless the facade
we needed to comment on the facade, so let me
and
pull
the
that
2
one up.
doors and the 2 transoms going in.
Right. Again, if you go back to the rendering that shows the facade. Daisy?
Give me a second.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
So the facade wasn't shown before as an alteration? That's what we're
It
looking
was,
at?
but you guys
Actually,
didn't
it was
accept it.
shown at the last meeting, but it
Okay,
wasn't one of the agenda items. Okay. So this is what you saw last time, except the individual letters on the roof are now have been removed. And yeah, right below that is what the building looks like now. And the building's to either side of it.
Can you shrink it a little, Daisy, and get both in the same view? At least on my screen, I can't see them.
What's that?
Yeah.
There you go.
So what is it, are you painting the brick? What's, the
No,
drawing
no,
at the top?
No,
What are you doing that's different? What are
we're
you
putting, well, it's the same as it was when you saw it 2 weeks ago. We haven't changed that.
doing? Just if you can tell us, are you
No, I'm sorry,
stuccoing it?
no.
Are you painting it? What are you doing? You're putting some trim? What are you doing?
We're putting as AZAC board over the brick, and then we're framing out the vertical rectangles between the windows, and horizontal rectangles under the windows.
It's all getting painted the same color. And the windows are getting painted charcoal to
The
show
windows,
some.
all the windows, including the dormer windows, all be painted charcoal. Yes.
And
the-
re-roofing, new roofing material or same?
Roofing slate, it stays the same.
The slate roof stays the same.
Gonna
And
look
the same thing
amazing.
The same thing with the doors. We're changing from the one door to two doors, and the windows above, they'll also have the charcoal trim. frame.
And the top of the windows will, it'll come across on top of those transoms. I'm gonna make it the same line, so it all looks even.
Right, in other words, the thickness will be the same as it is for the framing of the doors.
On the clear story window on top of the double doors to the right, can you put a horizontal mullion in there so it's the same proportions as the rest of the windows?
Yeah, there is.
We can
Are you
do
talking
that.
about on top of the new doors?
You see,
On
Stephen,
top of
Dan,
the, on the right side of on the right side, there's a clear story. That has one divided light over the two doors.
correct.
Yeah.
Those-
Underneath Franny's Goodie Shop, and you put a horizontal, so it's the same proportion as the dormers and as the big windows.
Oh, so you want to, instead of vertical, you want a horizontal,
So you want
I
a
I
four
want
light?
both, so you have four, like you have the
He
door.
wants a four light.
okay. All right, yeah, no, yeah, we can do that.
But Stanley, I don't think it's gonna line up with the other windows, so it might look a little awkward.
That was Bob's comment, but I think we should at least see, well, I mean, it's new. You could make them line up, I think. And sorry, I missed 2 weeks ago, but you're taking away a large freeze board. You're assuming brick is behind that?
Yes,
You look to the
Okay.
right, to your right, there is brick behind it, yeah.
Okay.
So, Stanley, what you're saying is that you still would like to see the horizontal in the
Yeah,
transom.
that was Bob's
Yeah, it's
comment,
Bob.
not.
That was just my
Sorry.
comment. I'm not speaking for the board.
No, I agree. I agree.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit,
To
please?
answer all your questions, I think what we can do, because you're concerned about it lining up with the window to the left there, we can adjust the spacing between the top of the doors and the bottom of the transit to try, to make it so it lines up with the windows to the left.
well, don't forget, they're 6'8" doors, standard doors, so
Yes.
you can't go smaller.
No, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, we can actually take a measurement, and the space between the top of the door and the bottom of the transom, we may have to adjust that so that everything lines up with the
Yeah.
windows to the left.
Stanley, I think we can do that as long as we don't have an issue with the height of the
Right.
doors.
Correct.
No, I understand, and I think it needs to be drawn with accuracy.
We can do that.
Again, I don't know if this has already been said, but you're taking away a either nice or not nice portico that has some dimension to it, and you're just punching in doors in a transom, and I think you're losing something in this new scheme. You're losing some sort of portal casing trim detail around the transom and doors. It just looks too plain to me. And with that thought, you could probably do something for the mall entrance, which should be significant because people need to walk through there.
Well, we
You
are, the mall entrance, Joel, I don't know if you have that up, but we're gonna shiplap all the brick on either side of the corridor going in.
Yeah, but I'm talking about just casing that opening, so it's just
No,
not this brick hole.
Steve, what Stanley's talking about, instead of just leaving that as a untrimmed opening to basically make it stand out, so you say, this is where we enter.
So we could create a corner there
Yeah.
and trim the front and the side of it. That's fine.
Well, I think you have two opportunities to make the building a little more interesting is case the opening to the mall and make it nicer
In
or
case
more
those front
more
doors-
prominent, and that might help you with the signage. And plus with the door and transom, that should,
Yeah,
not
that
just
should
be
be
a punch,
cased.
just not be a punched opening, but that's going to take somebody that needs to look at it, design it, draw it, make it look pretty.
Okay, we can.
How
And we
does
just,
everyone-
I don't see it in these renderings.
How does everyone feel about it being in the center of can you scroll down a little, Daisy? I just want to see the existing, the wider shot. If you could scroll down, please.
Sorry, it keeps freezing.
That's okay.
Shrink it a little bit so you can get both.
There you go.
Yeah. So how does everyone feel? Oh,
Sorry.
how
Okay.
does everyone feel about this white?
Well, it's not white, Anna. It's not white. It's gonna be an off-white. I'm not gonna do a stark white building. It's gonna be an off-white building.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't love
It's just
losing the
being
brick
flanked by
last
these
week.
brick buildings. Sorry.
No, yeah, I was saying I too, Ann, didn't really love the idea of losing the brick last week, but actually, I don't know, looking at this wide view where both of the buildings on either side are brick, I actually don't really have a problem with it anymore, especially you're keeping a nice gray slate roof, like on the building
Yep.
itself, the white and
Right.
the gray could look really nice, and you got brick on both
Absolutely.
sides.
Yeah, I think so too. And if you look to the left and the right, those bricks are pretty similar, and ours is quite different. And I think this,
This
Well,
building's
white-
brick
white-
isn't a very warm brick. It's
right,
Mhm.
it's a very, exactly, you're absolutely correct, Robert. And I think this will enhance the whole area and enhance the buildings to the left and right also.
I mean, geez, we don't want to paint it like Bank of America.
I was hoping you could
Oh,
make that
no.
white.
Hey, Steve, I got a couple questions. I know you said last week you're gonna use those 20-foot panels.
Yeah,
I looked at, they're 4 foot wide by 20 and
Yeah.
they're 1 inch.
yeah,
Are you gonna do that horizontally or vertically?
I am. And then where I put my boxes, I'm gonna hide the joint.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I'm gonna have to
And-
use a lot more material, but it's
At
gonna come
least
out a lot
get rid of the
nicer.
joints, right?
Yeah, and then my only other question is like some of the details around the windows, like how that AZAC turns back into the windows, and then basically at the kind of the breezeway at that corner portion at that
Daisy, can
breezeway,
you
how
scroll
that
up, please?
how you're turning, how those corners. I don't know if that's some type of framed corner. Is it a
Well-
mitered corner? I know on the front you can die it into the two sides of the building. I think on the
Yeah.
back you've got a flush situation to where I know you talked about putting some type of a 1x onto the brick to be able to attach those panels.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest concern, is kind of some of the corner details.
Well, yeah, so all the corners we miter, and I'm gonna take Stanley's thing about framing out that corridor, so then we could butt everything into those corners. So if
Okay.
we frame out that hallway going, that corridor going through, then at least we have something to butt
Yeah.
to. It's just like when I build my houses, when we trim the windows, things butt into them. So I know what we're
I
doing.
mean, I love modern things. And I think Stanley may have said something to this, that I feel like it's missing some kind of warmth. I don't know what it is. And it's partly because it's in context with these other buildings surrounding it. So I don't want it to stand out just like this big white.
And you keep
Thanks.
saying white, we're not doing white.
Not
Okay, well,
white.
off-white.
Not
It's
white,
it's
it's
not,
off-white.
it's a different value than the 2 bricks, okay, on the side. But I don't know what it is. It could just be the rendering. I don't know. I don't know if anyone else has.
I mean,
The rendering's a little
Had it in
deceiving
context.
because the roof is not gonna look, look in the photo, it's a different color
Yeah.
than it is in
I'm
the
just looking
rendering.
at it in context with the rest of the town, and I'm thinking about the community.
And we talked about the windows, they're gonna be clear. Right now, it looks like they got soap on them in the white window.
Yeah, it could be just the
Yeah.
rendering. It could just be the rendering. I don't
What
know.
color is the frame gonna be? Are you doing just a Durnotic? You're doing something with a richer color, or what are you using?
just with the frame, just with the grills in between the glass is just gonna be painted charcoal. It's all white now,
Right.
and it's gonna get painted. And don't forget, there's a beautiful street bench right under store number 3's window, under where Loco was. And, we're gonna have planters out there or whatever the beautification committee comes up with. So it looks like just a brand new building, but don't forget, we're bringing warmth to it with the benches and some planters and some flowers. So you're gonna see colors in the windows and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
well, as I said, it could just be the rendering that's,
Yeah. That's
Leaving
throwing
me a
you
little-
off. That's
leaving
throwing
me a
you
little
off.
fool right now.
But it's really gonna be visible when you drive over the hill. That's where people are gonna get their look at it, when
Yeah.
you're up high and you're looking down on it a little bit, so it's not really walking in front of it.
Do you
And you're
guys have a-
you're leaving the eave detail that's there now, correct?
Yes.
Yes, that's
So,
all.
so I
set.
mean, the rendering is pretty bad. I mean, it's really, it's not really showing, the lack of detail in the rendering may or may not be reality, but it's, I can just tell by the roof that somebody didn't spend enough time. So that eave gives a little bit of a nod to something, you know, semi-traditional. The frieze band that you're getting rid of is also a nod to something traditional. The portico is too. And you've taken that all away, and you've also stripped away the gutters and the eave, and it's just a bad rendering.
It is the
So we
signage,
don't know what it's ultimately going to look like. We're asking more questions than you can answer, I think, and that's a bad sign.
Who's gonna do the construction documents for this? It looks like the signage guy did the rendering, did he?
No, Joe put it together.
We did it.
Well, and then we're gonna have, you know, this mishmash of signage. Of different logos all over. I mean, it would be beautiful if we could keep them all consistent, but
Well, I almost wonder if this building would, you know, because the problem is that the windows aren't repetitive and you've got, you know, two signs on the left and two on the right, they're spaced differently, they're kissing together, you know, and the opening doesn't have any prominence. Maybe they're all better off being pin letters on the building and they shouldn't have any placards at all.
Well, again, this goes back to tenants needing their own identity, you know, just like at Chappaqua Crossing, you know, all the tenants use their own different logos, Lifetime.
They can
Whole
still
Foods.
do that. They can still do that. Instead of gluing it on a freeze board, you maybe put it on pins on the, you know, on the facade of the building. I'm just throwing a suggestion out there. It might be a way to space it out a little bit and not have it look crammed together like it does in this elevation.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's 5, you know, retail tenants here and only so much sign band. You know, we're just trying to do something cool for the town, beautify it, you know, beautify the building, bring in some life to the town, you know, into this, you know, vacant area. But yeah, we get it. You know, it's hard to balance the identity of the tenants, you know, because we're physically constricted.
I get it, but you're being defensive. You're not listening to us. I don't think any of us really love it. You know,
We don't love the signage right now or the facade.
the signage is what I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the facade, even though I do have a little trepidation because of the poor quality of the rendering, what it's gonna look like in real life. My gut is it'll be okay, but it is hard because the rendering is really pretty poor.
But I mean, you're going to tack on AZEK trim on brick. The brick itself has texture to it.
We're gonna put strips on. We're gonna put pressure treated 3/4 to 1 inch strips on the brick. And then we're gonna screw the AZEK onto the lath, the 3/4 or 1 inch pressure treated wood. We're not putting the plastic onto the brick.
I know, but what's within the, like where the sconce is? What is that sconce lighting? Is it lighting brick?
No, it's just, it's lighting the building.
There is no brick. You're putting
No, I know,
exact panels on the whole
There's
building.
no
You
brick on
have
the front.
if I'm reading this right, and what you told me is it's a brick building painted white. You're going to put AZEK trim, whether it's 2-3 inches wide.
No, the AZAC goes over brick, the
Not
entire.
goes over the whole thing.
You're not gonna
These
see
are
any brick
panels.
on the front
Not
of the
painted.
building.
Oh, AZEK goes on
No
the
brick.
whole building.
Yes.
The whole entire building.
There's no brick,
Oh,
So the concern is you don't want to look like a plastic building, right?
right?
Right.
oh, wow.
Because the AZAC looks plastic.
It is plastic.
Not when
I
it's
mean,
not
it
when
looks
it's
and it's
painted.
plastic, yes.
It's all gonna be painted. It's what I put on all the houses. Granted,
Yeah.
we do, you know, hardy plank and stuff like that, but
And I don't know how the.
Yeah, it's gonna
is it-
last
Is it gonna
forever.
be reflective or what's the finish? Is it gonna be reflective?
No, it'll be,
It'd be
you
a
know,
flat finish.
a flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't do a high gloss. It
Wait, so
would
are
be
you
a
painting the
flat.
AZAC or is it the standard white AZAC?
No, all the AZAC will get painted to an off-white.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I do not want to make this building a stark white building. That's what I do not want to do.
Okay.
Yeah, Stanley, that's why I question the corner details when they're using the panels.
No, now I understand the context of that. I mean, I think, I'm sure you've looked into AZAC in 20-foot long strips is going to expand and contract in the heat and the freeze thaw. I think design wise, I really have a problem with tacked on trim like this. You've kind of brought this semi-column kind of reading to the facade. There's no base, and there's no freeze, so it's kind of lacking kind of a design hierarchy with this decoration. And I think, I'm not sure if bringing a freeze board is the right thing, but it might be. It might help a little bit. And then also trimming out the mall opening and the transom and the doors. I think it just needs more detail. Otherwise, it's just kind of rectangles on a flat facade. I mean, that's really what it is. The signs and the tacked on trim are just rectangles on a flat facade.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. We need a little more detail, but there is going to be a freeze board on top of all of the windows, which is going to protrude past the AZAC panels.
My next comment is we need to see that. We don't see it here.
And then, I can put a piece of crown underneath where the freeze.
Yeah, it takes a designer some time to work it all out with the proportions, the depth, and how much it goes. So you can talk all you want. I don't see it.
Okay.
Well, and I think we have to address what Travis said about corners, because the panels can't just be butting next to each butting.
So should we ask for an architectural elevation that shows more detail as opposed to the kind of the rendering, the washing rendering?
That would be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah,
You do beautiful work. We know you can do this. You do beautiful work. So
Thank you. Okay.
All right, good. I think
We'll take it all into consideration.
Okay, so we're returning on the 3rd with the sign application, which is for the Chapel Hill building.
Right,
We're returning for the building facade.
correct.
And if you have the renderings and the sign stuff for the other 2 stores, then
Yes.
just know you have to come in and apply for those 2 separately,
2
and we'll
separate
add
signs.
those.
Okay.
So it'll be a total of 4 building permits coming back on the 3rd.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Good night,
Probably need-
everybody.
Nice,
Probably-
thank you.
Probably need to get a cut sheet on those lights too that you're putting on.
Yeah.
The front.
Yeah, we'll get you a cut sheet on that too.
All right.
we have more, is that it?
Yeah, we have one more. It's a referral from the zoning board. It's an amendment to a special use permit. They right now have 2 existing paddle tennis courts, and they're adding 1 more. They were before the planning board yesterday, and they were in agreement with it. So now they are before you. So Carl, is anyone else on?
Yes, I'm here with Paul McCartney. He's a board member with the club.
Okay. You want to share your screen?
Sure, no problem. Hold on one second. Okay. If it's okay, I'm just going to do a short talk and then I'll go through the drawings if that's okay with the board.
Fine.
All right. Good evening, Chairman and architectural board members and concerned staff. My name is Carl Ackerman. I'm from Sullivan Architecture. I'm here on behalf of Mount Kisco Country Club. And as I mentioned, Paul is here as a board member with me. If you have any questions directly to him, you can ask. We were before the planning, as we mentioned last night, and went through the same presentation, and I'm going to go through it today and make sure you understand everything the same fashion. Mount Kisco Country Club is seeking to amend a special permit and add a third tennis court next to the two that are adjacent on the site. The hours of operation are also going to be in accordance with their special permit, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. The courts are open year round, but this sport mainly is a fall and winter activity. It is off season from golf, and the same members use the facility. There's no expected increase in parking. The same members use these facilities. And so I'm going to walk through the plans right now. In the center here, you can see there's a red rectangle. In my next drawing, I'll blow up on it. That is the location of the proposed added court. That court, you'll see on a future slide, meets all the special permit setbacks. We're over 120 feet is the minimum from any property line. So we are in conformance with the current special permit, and we're just looking to amend it to add this court. So on the next drawing here, you can see the brown area is a new walkway and a new court that's added adjacent to the existing two courts. There's an existing, the front of the facility is right here. If you can see where you come into the main clubhouse. There is a current masonry barn, and this court is going to be behind it, and I will show some pictures in a minute. While I'm here, we are relocating a propane tank. These courts are heated, the surfaces, they're in the winter for melting snow. They are pervious, rain does go through them. And I'm gonna go show you in a minute, but we are removing asphalt, putting gravel below, so we're actually helping drainage and runoff by removing this asphalt. We are going to be adding a screen of trees and a fence to help block the northern neighbor that you'll see on an upcoming drawing. This drawing that we submitted here, the same red rectangle, you could see the two existing paddle tennis courts are here by my cursor, and to the north is the added one. The closest neighbor to the north is over 278 feet away. Across the street, across Taylor Road, it's 450 feet. And any other neighbors are very significantly far away, across 780 and 1,000 feet over to the restaurant. So this is just some general overview, and then I'm going to go into some images of when you drive into the club. You can see the clubhouse here on the left. The court is directly in the back here, and you cannot see it. That's the main reason we wanted to show this. And also coming up Taylor Road to the south, there's a lot of trees there screening any views back towards this area. When you're at the clubhouse on the backside, there's one court that's visible. The other existing court is behind the barn. And the one that we're putting is to the north, which would be to the right. If you go at the end of the barn, this shed has been removed already. This area will be cleaned out, and this asphalt that I mentioned will be removed for the paddle tennis court that's going to look the same way, the third one added right next to it. And you can kind of see behind the truck that propane tank that gets moved. This is just another image from that end of the barn. Another image of that general area. There is some trees here on the backside I'm going to show you in a minute. The neighbor to the north, this is a winter shot. This is the turf management facility staging area here where they take deliveries of sand and other things. But we are going to be adding at the end of the court those screen trees and a fence to assist any views from this neighbor. Not that they can see much, only in the winter. Now to go through some street views, if you're out on North Bedford Road, there's one kind of peekaboo where you can see out across, looking south towards this area where our roadside area is behind these trees. So you will not see this facility at all from North Bedford Road. And if you're on the south side of the course over on Annandale Road, you will not see anything with this stand of trees here. It's up here. You can't even see the clubhouse in this image. And we've also submitted the drawings from the vendor that's going to be providing this court. This is just their cover sheet showing the three courts down here with the new walkway. There is an exit stair that they're adding at the end. You can see here the masonry barn. So this is just some details. Spec. Here's a plan. It's a sonotube system, and it's an aluminum system that's installed raised up. And the building does have a skirt. The court does have a skirt. And each court has 6 lights that are going to be LED that are proposed for this new court. The existing courts are going to have their lights replaced to LED lights. And we've submitted foot candle drawings and everything to accurately show that there is no spillage off the property. These are downlights, and this area is only be lighted and should not have any impact on the neighbors. These courts, 2 courts have been here for a very long time, and to our knowledge, there's been no complaints. And it's just some details, this exit stair and then how the footings are done. And this is just a letter we submitted about the pervious surface. And here is a cut sheet of the LED light. It is a downlight, and it will be directed onto the court, and they're not significantly high in the air. So everything is focused on the court. And you will see here, this is the foot candle drawing we showed, but there is a color depiction here. You can see this is the 3 courts here. In the background is the clubhouse. This is kind of looking south at it. This is that barn. So the lighting level you can see is focused generally in this area. There's no spillage off the property. And you can see at the bottom drawing here that obviously the hot is the court area, and it's cold is where there's no light. So it's very focused.
What color
And then-
temperature is it going to be?
I think you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Carl, you're on mute.
Can't hear you.
It's your iPods. It somehow is connecting to another device or something,
Maybe the batteries are dead.
or the batteries are dead.
Paul, do you know the temperature?
I think I lost you. Can you hear me?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, yeah. What? So last I asked, what's the color temperature?
Now he's on mute.
You're
You're
on
on
mute.
mute, Carl.
There
Can
you
you
go.
unmute him, Daisy?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
trying.
now he's on mute.
Carl?
I think he's frozen.
Now he's frozen.
While he's doing that, Daisy, I had a question. I saw the letter of support from the planning board. Were there any objectors at all, any neighbors at all object to adding this to?
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Not that I know
Yeah,
of.
now we can hear you.
That's what the planning board the planning board secretary and Sabrina said that they were okay. They didn't mention any neighbors.
Sorry, I'm just having some technical.
That's okay. I think Stanley asked about the light color.
The color temperature.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you hear me? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I had asked what is the color temperature of these lights?
The color, the lights are, sorry, it's hard to hear you. My speakers cut out, but they're 5,000 Kelvin lights. And that's what's recommended by the court manufacturer, if I heard you correctly.
Okay.
Is that what was approved in the planning board yesterday, 5,000?
Yeah, that's what we submitted to the planning and to the ZBA. I spoke with Sabrina today. There were some questions last night, and we're going to submit a formal letter. As we're here for referral, if you want to write that up just to make sure that it's clarified, we'll make sure Sabrina gets all that information.
Okay, so you're saying 5,000 Kelvin. So I'll put that in the notes.
Comments from anyone?
No, I'm okay with it.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just having trouble hearing you here.
You're good.
You're approved.
That always gets through, right? That always, you can hear that. Thank you very much.
All right, have a good night.
Okay, I can hear you now. I apologize.
Okay, that's okay.
You're all good.
You're approved.
Thank you so much for your time, everyone, and
Okay.
have a nice night.
You
Yep.
as well.
Sure, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
So before we leave on the, do you guys all see my email and Daisy's email back with the signage? So,
Yeah.
you know, I'd like to, we should police it better. I don't know if somebody's even up there, if it's abandoned, it's hard to tell, but
Steve was
So-
actually out there the other day. He went by. Steve, do you want to talk about that?
I just took pictures of the sign that you asked me to take pictures of, which was you said that was the approved sign.
But do you know, did you say it looked empty? I don't know if anybody's still there.
No, I walked by, the lights were on in the
Oh,
evening
okay.
and some furniture was still in there.
Oh, okay.
so can we ask the tenant, the occupant, to remove all the signs from the windows that were not approved?
So I don't know if you remember that meeting, but it went on because she was upset with Serenity Spa having their windows. We had started off with 15% coverage of the window, which we told her not to put what she had been approved for on the window, that she can put her name, her phone number, and you had said maybe put the feather so that they know that it's Wee's Acupuncture. But it looks nothing what the sign looked like and what was approved. So I don't know, but she was supposed to, we had rejected it altogether at the end of the meeting, and we had rejected it and told her to come back with what she was going to put on the window, and she never did. So that
So
was,
how do
the-
we, you know, we had. the
and
thing
she
with the-
never even got approved for the sign itself because she didn't come back with insurances and all that. So she didn't even have a permit. So
So what's the enforcement mechanism? How do you get the windows cleaned? And I mean, it looks like a, you know, a Hewlett Packard piece of Xerox paper. Someone typed a number on it. Looks terrible.
mhm.
Looks terrible. I mean,
So Steve, what would we do?
We have to send her a violation and tell her she has to take the signs down. And
yeah,
then if she
give her
doesn't-
48 hours to do it so she doesn't get a fine or something, but you know, it needs to come down. It looks terrible.
Well, normally when somebody gets a violation, it's usually 10, minimum of 10 days to comply.
Oh, that's fine. Okay.
And then if she doesn't comply, then she gets an appearance ticket and has to go to court.
Now, the one thing she was complaining about, the what would you say,
Spa.
Serenity across the street, so they're allowed to? I mean, if we're going to enforce it, then it should be enforced, right?
Mhm.
On the whole block.
Well,
Yeah.
we should, but she comes to mind because I don't remember Serenity coming to us and doing something different than what we talked about. This one, I remember it was 3 painful long.
Well, they
meetings.
probably just did it.
They probably did. And
So that's not okay either, is my
The
point.
well, that place on the corner, they've got a yoga place now in back where they put some type of a applique on the bottom of the window. And I'm not sure if that ever came to the board.
I'd love to clean up, you know, but the town board, I told you guys, I can't do it all myself, but the town board said a couple of years ago that they would support a signage program if we would put something together, and we haven't done it. But, you know, these things just look awful. I mean, you know, you have this, you want the downtown to look nice, it looks terrible. So I don't know that 2 wrongs make it right. I think we should certainly start with this one. I would certainly support asking other people if they have other signs that look also as amateurish and they weren't approved to take them down. But I'd like to start with this one. It's a prominent corner, and I remember 3 painful evenings that
So are we referring just to what's on the window, not what was approved on the storefront?
I didn't look at the storefront. I don't go to downtown. very
I
often.
emailed it to you so you can see what we
Oh.
approved and the picture that Steve took.
All right.
And it looks pretty accurate to what we had approved.
Okay, so then that's fine. I was only speaking to what I saw in the upper 2nd-story windows
Yeah,
that were literally Xerox paper that somebody typed in large letters and numbers. It was not a sign. And it wasn't even taped flat. It has like tape on the corners and was buckling, and it was, you know,
Mhm.
and those should be taken down because they look horrible.
mhm. Okay. All right,
Anybody
so,
disagree? I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the sign right now. It's definitely better than what she originally started with. I just don't remember, you know, I don't know where these other,
but did
I
you
don't
see what I
remember
sent?
what we told her she
Dan?
could have it or not have it, so.
Do you see what I sent, Dan? Let me see if I can.
Richard.
I sent.
Schenkel. Planning board. No, no, I don't.
I have too many emails. I'm just gonna find them.
Well, I'm sure with
Oh,
that,
here, yeah, okay, here, got it.
I'm sure within the town regulations, there's
Oh,
in
yeah.
the signage portions, there's something that says a sign is not considered a piece of Xerox paper with something printed on it.
Can you guys see? You can't see.
Yeah, I
this,
saw
can
it.
you? Okay, see this?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I mean, it's, you know, it's.
And it's not the name of her her business name is Wee's Acupuncture.
Yeah, this is not a sign. And there's a couple of them. I think it's not just on that one window. It's on the side. It's, you know.
well, there's about 8 different air conditioners stuck in those windows too. So she's only got a couple windows to put signs.
If we want to have a nice downtown, we gotta enforce some of these things.
Okay.
You know, it's not like I don't want to support the town businesses, but I think that we're not doing the town a service to allow that.
No, I agree.
Do you think it's the same business? I'm
Well,
gonna
the we-
compare the phone numbers, but you can't
Yeah.
see it.
You know, here, look at the difference. So this
Like,
is
why
over-
wouldn't she go to the trouble of putting
Look at the bottom, the
WI
door on
right
the
above?
bottom, right? They did a nice job on the bottom door, right? See that?
Mhm.
Then look at, you know, right on top of it.
Well, that was kind of my point with this off-white building is it has a very prominent position in the town. And if we aren't attentive to it, we'll definitely hear from the town.
Well, I'm actually, now that I realize that it's going to be just slathered with AZEK, I have a big problem with it.
It
I'm
just
not gonna-
sounds horrible to me.
No, it is going to be horrible. And I think Travis is hitting on these huge sheets. They don't even have installation instructions. I think you have to leave a gap between the sheets. The stuff is going to move and expand and contract a little bit, and there's going to be gaps all over the place. It just,
I think it's disingenuous to say that they're just going to cover all the joints. There's going to be joints. You're going to see it.
yeah,
You're going to see
it's,
joints.
and there's no detail.
Is
It's,
Steve just the contractor? Because the stuff he builds when he's developer, he does a good job. I thought that housing project where the nursery looks terrific, I think, and he does
He
a lot of
owns the
nice stuff.
building.
But he's a builder.
He
He's
owns
not
this
a
building?
contractor.
Does he own this building, Steve? I thought he did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And why isn't he making it nicer? He really does generally nice work.
I didn't know you could do that with AZEK, let alone buy huge sheets of it and just cover a building like wrapping
Well,
paper.
I think we need to get, I know they're wanting to improve it, but I don't know if it's a cost benefit thing to say that this is going to be cheaper to take care of than brick. I don't know, you know, I know they want to try to create some type of distinctive building to attract businesses, I guess, but yeah,
I mean, I thought it was going to be trim on brick and it was all painted out and it would still have some texture and some interest. But to cover it with plastic is just awful. I'm absolutely against it.
yeah, I don't know what finishes is that. I know that AZEK's got a.
You can
something
paint
like-
it, but you just have
But
to.
it looks
Well,
like
I mean,
Formica.
even the finish it's not a smooth
It
finish.
is like
Well,
a
you have-
Formica.
It's
yeah.
like Formica.
No, you have a
that's what it
choice.
looks
It can
like.
have like the wood type grain on it, or you can have it plain,
Yeah.
and both just sound
Either
really
sounds
bad.
horrible.
You know, some people use it for decks. They have like fake wood that they put on, you know, they make decks out of it. It's, you know,
Right, but
But-
they're
but
they're
it's-
they're mimicking a board size. This is
Yeah.
4x8 or 4x20 sheet of plastic.
And this is the first thing you see when you, as you said, when you come over that hill.
No, it's somebody has to design it. It's just clearly
Yeah.
missing any kind of design.
I don't know what type of.
I agree, Jim. In all fairness to him, do we want,
Oh, we lost
Daisy,
Brandon.
or do we want to deliver a message to him? I don't want him to come back to the next meeting. We weren't this harsh with him. And I don't want him to come back in with a couple of little details and then we throw it all out. And say it's not-
I'll gladly write an email and send it to you guys, and you can review it and give it to Daisy.
Yeah, I
The,
think Daisy, I think we should give him some fair notice that the board spoke in more detail and has bigger issues with, with
Okay.
them basically laminating the building with plastic.
Okay.
the maintenance of that at the bottom of the, like where you've gotten salt, where you're salting the sidewalks and different things, and that paint that's
It
gonna be
apparently
right
can be
there,
buried,
that-
apparently can be buried in the ground. The problem is when you're painting AZEC, is the paint gonna hold up?
or is it gonna scuff? I don't know. I don't have very much experience with AZAC, painted AZAC.
I don't know. Joe, have you used AZEC much in retail or commercial?
No, it was actually the first time I heard of it, and I thought it was the wrong move from the beginning. I don't think it's the right.
Yeah, you
I
don't,
don't
you
think
don't
it's right
put,
to cover the brick, although the brick is not the same color tone. I mean, it just looks. It is the first building you see right when you come over the hill. I don't think we want to cover it with plastic. I don't
no,
think that's the
no,
right thing to do
no.
for the town.
Nope.
I was thinking about it for 2 weeks. I couldn't like get it out of my head.
No, it's
I think there's other ways
gonna
to
look like a,
improve it.
it's
if
gonna
you wanna
look like
do
a
that.
toy when it's first built, and then it's gonna fall apart and it's gonna look like crap.
It's gonna look horrible.
Yeah, and honestly, I think they just need better drawings, right? Like I don't think we can improve something where there's too many unknowns, right?
Yeah.
Better renderings, more details.
More
More
accurate
But
renderings.
he should understand that, Tavalachi.
Well, I know Joel was told that, so. With the
Who is
renderings
Joel?
and
Was
the
in
sign.
who is the?
He's the architect.
He's the architect.
There definitely needs to be some more consistency with the signage, right? I don't think putting a border around all the signs is the right way. I think they should just be simple pin
Well,
letters, same font, and then, right, it's not, people are gonna know where they're supposed to go based on the address, right? They're not
And
gonna
Steve
look for those.
understands our town. I mean, it's not like he doesn't understand the village.
It seems a little disjointed because it's like they're trying to approve a sign and try, I think it probably should be designed holistically a little bit more maybe, because it's almost like, hey, we need to get these signs up, and hey, we'll do the facade later, or
They just want to rent this. They want to rent the space.
Yeah, and I sympathize with them. It's tough times, and they want to get it rented. But again, like everybody's saying, it's the first thing you see, and it's like somebody went to the rectangle shop and just put all rectangles all over the place.
I'd
Is it
rather
just
see
trade?
them
Did
use
they
the
just
existing building.
Did they just buy it? Did it just trade, so to speak? And is this like his freshening up, or did he always own it?
It has to be.
You know, did he buy it recently? I mean, did it just
I
change
don't know.
hands?
But he lost all the tenants. He lost local and he lost the jewelry. I
Jewelry
can't think of
stores.
Varda.
I don't know if that was prior to him purchasing though.
So,
All right, yeah, I think we'll all support you, Stanley. But I think we need to give him notice before he comes in, and then he'd be upset.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, so
I'll-
the
I'll
next
get something
meeting
out
is
tomorrow.
Wednesday, the 3rd.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Everybody.
have a good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
good night.
Bye.
See you all.